Hi, everyone. How are you? I hope all is well. My name is Precious S. Carter. I am so excited to be doing this. I don't have the best placement for my light. I'm not going to worry about that. I might just move it. I might not keep it here. I don't know. But hi, how are you? I hope all is well. Precious S. Carter. If you want to know more about me, go to preciouscarter.com. So excited to be sharing with you guys about boundaries. I love the topic of boundaries. I think it's one of the most important things that you can set in place for yourself to go into this new year. Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. I believe this year is going to be an amazing year for you. I believe people are conspiring on your behalf this year. I think it's super important that you just open yourself up to being obedient to God, obedient to the Holy Spirit, creating boundaries, creating limits, getting clear on your vision. Like, let's do all the things to set ourselves up for success in 2024. It's going to be a really good year. Watch. Like, mark my words, it's going to be a really, really good year. So, I'm going to get into it. If you're not following me, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and share this video out and make sure you leave me a comment and I will respond to you. So, I love talking about vision. Most people know that I do a vision board party every year. I've been doing it since 2017. I don't know many people who've been doing it that long. I started off doing it back on Periscope. My first vision board party that I had like 2,000 people virtually. It was lit. We was on there for a long time. We were sharing our vision boards. It was so dope. And so this year I'm going to do it for my birthday weekend in January. I want to do a retreat, but I'm just not sure because I haven't done any planning. So, but let's get into it. I want to talk about boundaries because a lot of times we start off our new year and we have this list of things that we want to do, this list of resolutions that we have made, and we don't have anything in place to get them accomplished. We don't have anything in place to prevent or overcome the barriers that are sure to come our way, because the reason that we made resolutions is because we weren't doing something the way that we wanted to do it to begin with, right? And so I think it's important that we get clear on that. So boundaries are just a set of guidelines or rules or limits that are created to identify a safe, permissive way for others to interact with you. You can create boundaries around many things in your life, from your finances to your relationships to, you know, how people can move around in your home, what you discuss with people, how people can interact with your children. There are so many things that you can create boundaries about. And so, again, like when I talk about boundaries, I like to use the analogy of a home, but I also like the analogy of a state, right? Like a boundary, it outlines or indicates the limit that you should not cross. They define where it is safe for you to go and where it is unsafe for you to go. Boundaries are something that, number one, it is important that you make the decision on what the boundary is, okay? And once you have made the decision about what the boundary is, so for me, let's just use an example. I have a boundary on loaning money. I give money to a lot of people, but I have found that loaning money has really put some relationships in a detrimental situation, not because like I'm tripping off of what you owe me, but because you're tripping off of what you owe me and you're avoiding me. So I just decided that I won't loan money anymore. And so that is my boundary, right? I have decided what my boundary is. Now, in order for the boundary to be done effectively, I have to clearly, number one, define it, and then I have to communicate it to you, right? To you, the person who might want to borrow some money from me, right? And then it is your responsibility, if you are in relationship with me, to respect my boundary. Um, and again, they're meant for various things: relationship, territories, your home, your business, whatever. Um, and I like to be really clear on what boundaries are which was just defined, and how they must be communicated. But I like to be clear on what they are not. They are not barriers, right? They're not walls. They're not something that you put up to keep people out, but they're actually something that you establish in order to keep people safe, to give people a safe place to operate in inside of self. It's a healthy relationship. So when you think about it in terms of a property line, at my house, I have neighbors and I'm close to my neighbors now. So my neighbors can come into my house. But when I first met my neighbors, I wasn't even sure if I liked them. And so we would talk to them outside. As a matter of fact, when we first moved into the house in Columbus, my neighbors and I would only, it was COVID. And so my neighbors and I would literally talk across the yard. You remember we kept that 6 feet distance where ours was a little bit more than 6 feet. Like, we talked to each other across the yard. And our relationship was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with our relationship. I didn't dislike them. They didn't dislike me. We just did not have um, an intimate relationship like we do now. And so that relationship was fine. I have some neighbors who walk their dogs or go for walks or jog or whatever, and we just talk like right out by the mailbox or, just right on the sidewalk. That is a boundary. We haven't crossed that boundary. It's understood. Some people, my neighbors, as we got more and more acquainted, they can come on my porch or they can come on my back deck. Heck, they can even come and sit at my fire pit. That is the boundary of the relationship at that point. And at the point when they were allowed into my home, they could come into my home and sit on my couch, maybe sit at my kitchen table, but I didn't want them in my refrigerator. And then once they were allowed in my refrigerator, maybe to use the bathroom, I didn't want them in my bedroom. And that's how that goes. And so there it goes. Like a person that you don't know, or a person who you do know, and you have decided that you don't want them to have a certain level of access. They just don't have that access. And that doesn't mean that there is anything wrong with the relationship, right? Um, and that's just important. So when it comes to your boundaries in your life, you have to decide. So you've created this vision for your life, or you have created these resolutions or these goals, and now you are going to go back and live your regular life on January 4th, right? Most kids go back to school January 4th. So your kids made a goal that they are going to get never miss one homework assignment, right? So now they're going to get back to school and they're going to have their regular life. They're not going to be up under their parents or their big brothers or sisters that is going to be constantly encouraging them. Now they're going to get back into their regular routine, their regular habits with their friends who like to talk all day in school, who like to clown around, who like to trade whatever kids are trading these days. Like we traded Pokemon cards or something. I can't remember. We had those little garbage pail kids and those little treasure trolls back in the day. So they're going to want to do whatever it is that they do, play Fortnite, play whatever. But I hope that if your children have made this as a resolution, you have already equipped them with the information and the knowledge that they need to do something different than they were doing before. Right. So that means that they have to have boundaries for their friends. Yep, I do want to play with you, but I can't. The boundary is when I come home, I'm going to get focused on my homework. I'm going to read for X amount of minutes or hours, and then I'm going to go out. The boundary is like, you can't call me. I'm not going to answer your phone call. It's your child's responsibility to communicate that to their friends in order for their friends to know, and then their friends need to respect it because they want to have a good relationship with them. They want their friends to get their homework done. That's the important thing. So they're not walls. They're not to say, hey, I don't want to be your friend no more because I miss homework assignments. They're saying that, hey, in order for me to get done what I need to get done, I have to set limits for myself, which I'll talk about in another video. But a limit is like a boundary for yourself. So I have to set limits for myself, and that means I have to set boundaries for you in order for me to meet my objective. A boundary serves as a way to establish healthy limits in relationship, and barriers or walls, they are meant to divide. And so when you think about a barrier, you're thinking about a defense, something that is defensive, something that is meant to keep people out, whereas a boundary is more of a defining line. Boundaries They define roles and they decide permission. People who it's so funny, like a lot of us, especially if you're anything like me, you spent a lot of time doing a lot of things for a lot of people, and at certain points in your life you might have felt like people were taking advantage of you. And the thing that I learned in 2023 was, if you're constantly giving the advantage, wouldn't someone be foolish not to take the advantage that is given to them? And so I think it's important that you get to the root of why you are always overdoing it, and you'll probably find that you're something like me and you were dealing with abandonment, rejection, and things like that. And just go ahead and get delivered. People who have boundaries want healthy relationships. They don't want to be the type of person that continues to overdo for the sake of peace, when in fact they are only having not conflict with you, but there is actually a war going on inside of them. So when you have, and what happens is when you do things for the sake of peace, you end up being pissed off in the long run and then hurting someone's feelings anyway. So it's best to just go ahead and set the boundary and deal with it. And don't mistake a boundary for a barrier or a wall, because that's just a trick of the enemy to try to make you lose relationships. So start to think about the relationships in your life and the things that make you happy, the things that are driving you in the direction that you want to go in, and start to cut back on some of the things that are not, and then just communicate them. What you've got to understand is, if people cannot respect your boundaries, if people cannot understand that you are doing these things for yourself, then those people they don't value you, and they don't deserve a place or a position in your life, to be totally honest with you. Um, so again, when you're setting boundaries, don't do it from a place of hurt. Do it from a futuristic standpoint. Do it from the position of wanting to get goals accomplished, wanting to have inner peace, wanting to you want to write your book, you got to set some boundaries around time. You want to start your business, you got to set some boundaries around your time. So don't do it from a position of hurt, or because somebody kept taking advantage of you, now you're going to do this. No, because I want to become this person, because I want to get this accomplished in my life, I need to do this. So I need to set up this level of parameter in order for me to be successful at that. Because boundaries and barriers are two different things, two different motives. And yeah, one creates healthy relationships, and one is just something to push people away. Um, so yeah, that's really it. If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them now, or you can leave me a comment and I will be sure to respond to you. Um, but that is really it. I appreciate you guys for coming on. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And you can follow me on YouTube. I want to talk about boundaries and relationships um, soon, because I have a story to tell about something that happened with my family. So anyway, my vision board party this year is going to be on the 27th is my birthday. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it on the 26th or the 27th, but I'm going to do it this year. It's going to be virtual and in person. I probably only have about 10 places in person if I do it here where I'm from in Cincinnati, or in Columbus, but there will be virtual spots available. And I really don't want to do vision board. I really want to do vision writing, and you guys can make your boards on your own time, because I want to get really, really specific about the vision that you have for your life and what it is that you're going to do to get there. Okay. All righty. So yeah, my next thing is going to be talking about vision. Yep. I'm actually ready to talk about it. We're going to talk about it before the vision board party, so that when we get to the vision board party, we are writing and writing and writing and creating. Okay. All right. So make sure you're subscribing. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I love you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Have a good night.